Hello, everybody. Welcome back to Sequel Decay, the only movie podcast on the internet. I'm Stefan Salehio, and with me is Christopher J. Ranta.
J?
Everybody's middle name is J. Has a J in it. Starts with a J.
My middle name is actually Diana.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
CD Ranta.
Too bad I'm not LP Ranta.
Ugh, well that was stupid. Anyway,
Welcome
we're back.
to the show.
Welcome to another thrilling episode of Sequel Decay. We are officially done with superhero movies.
Yay!
Hell yeah, until the next one.
I don't think we're ever going to do another month of superhero movies, though.
I would rather die.
Yeah. So, for those of you who were wondering, are you guys ever going to do, a new fucking superhero month where you guys just focus on a single No, we're not.
No.
We're not.
And how dare you for asking, frankly. How dare you enjoy something and then want to see people talk about it? Fuck you for that. But, no, we're gonna...
You said that one of these movies was too cynical, and then you just did that, so fuck off.
I didn't say it was too cynical, I was just, contemplating whether or not it is cynical. But, anyway, I have a cat.
He's precious. Say hi, Oliver.
Oliver, say hi to the people.
Good! It's like that episode of SpongeBob when they're singing the campfire song.
Yeah.
Squidward! Good!
I was, speaking of SpongeBob, my brother and I were rewatching a bunch of Invader Zim episodes, because there's a new, movie coming to Netflix.
Oh, yeah, right.
That show was so fucking weird. I keep forgetting how fucking weird that show was. But it it was, and it's funny. It's funny in a way that only Invader Zim could be funny. But it kind of got shafted by the fact that it ran at the same time as early SpongeBob. Anyway, enough about Invader Zim, if that actually makes it on the podcast. So yeah, this week we're gonna talk about two 80s cult favorites from the David Byrne cinematic universe. And we're taking next week off. We're not going to be recording, but we do have a pre-recorded episode that's going to go up. So stay tuned for that.
Yeah, rob them of the illusion, asshole. That's how you do
What
it.
illusion? Every episode we're like, to pull back the curtain a bit.
So, Stefan, what are these two cult movies from the It's Like 60 Minutes on Acid cinematic universe franchise?
Well, Chris, these two movies from the 70s post-punk music universe.
70s? These both came out in the 80s.
Well, I know, but the Talking Heads started in the 70s.
Yeah, late 70s.
And I believe they started playing at CBGB.
I think so, yeah.
So yeah, they're from that scene. Well, now you know. If you know now, you know it. There's 1984's Stop Making Sense and 1986's True Stories.
Yes. Both of these are two of my favorite movies of all time.
One of these I really love.
One of these is in my top 5 of all time. I think you can take a guess.
Mm-hmm.
I'll give you a hint. It's the Justin Timberlake concert movie that came out 3 years ago.
Beautiful.
Yeah. Also directed by Jonathan Demme.
Was it? I don't actually know.
It was, actually. So the funny thing about this episode is that for Stop Making Sense, this is, I guess, the closest we're going to get to a retrospective episode. Because this movie came out 35 years ago in October.
Oh, really?
Yep.
Yeah, I guess you're right.
So that's exciting.
Uh-huh.
Welcome to the David Byrne retrospective episode, kids.
We all knew it was coming. You knew in your heart if this was coming.
Yeah, we've been setting it up since episode 1. What are you talking about?
Anyway, join us next week where we talk about Devo for 3 hours.
Oh my fucking god. Okay,
so strap in, folks. Strap in. We're gonna
spend 3 hours specifically on the music video for Whip It.
We're gonna do
when
it.
we do Devo.
Yeah. And then the week after that, Blondie. Let's go.
Have you seen the music video for Whip It?
No.
It's fucking bizarre.
Yeah?
It's so fucked up. It's so fucking weird. I'll have to show it to you.
Okay. So, Chris.
Yes.
Now that you took a big-ass swig of Coke, that delicious Coca-Cola.
No, this is cocaine, actually.
Why don't you tell us a little bit about Stop Making Sense?
Okay, so Stop Making Sense is a 1984 picture. Came out 35 years ago in October, I believe. And it was directed by Jonathan Demme and conceived for the stage by David Byrne. It is basically just a concert film.
Mm-hmm.
It's essentially about an hour and a half, about 85 minutes to 90 minutes, somewhere around there, of the Talking Heads playing bunch of songs from their 1983 album, Speaking in Tongues, which I actually have over there. And they played at the...
Hollywood's Pantages Theater.
Yes.
I think that's how you say that.
I believe that's how you say that.
Yeah.
And yeah, it's considered one of, if not the most influential concert film of all time. Mm-hmm. And we're going to talk about it now, because there's really not much of a narrative plot.
Well, yeah, because it's a concert movie.
Yes, so we're going to analyze the concert movie. Wish us luck.
Yeah. I'm stumped.
So I guess I will take the lead on this.
Yes, you very much will.
Okay, so I've watched this movie a lot.
Yeah.
I've watched this movie a shitload. And so I actually didn't even have to rewatch either of these movies for Sequel Decay. What I was actually planning on doing was doing some housework and then just having them on in the background just to kind of refamiliarize myself a little bit. But throw one on, I would just sit on my ass and just get through the whole movie. It's just one of those. And strangely enough, so is Stop Making Sense for me. Mm-hmm. Because it's such a visual movie. Mm. And it's such a beautifully shot movie.
It's
that you
super
just
well shot.
You cannot help but go, holy fucking shit.
Yeah, it's amazing that somebody would think to do that with a concert movie, because concert movies, like, at least the ones I've seen, are pretty low effort.
Yeah.
It's just the band playing.
And then there'll be some shots of the audience, there'll be the band playing, and then shots of the audience. Whereas this one has a lot of really creative and beautiful shots. This was actually shot by a fella named Jordan Cronenweth. Mm-hmm. Who those of you may know as the cinematographer of the original Blade Runner. Oh,
right. You told me that. That's really cool.
Yeah.
And that also makes a lot of sense.
In a movie called Stop Making Sense.
Sure.
But yeah, like, it's such a beautiful movie. I actually made a Twitter thread a while ago when I was rewatching this, because I was like in awe of how beautiful this movie looks. Mm-hmm. And I made this Twitter thread, and it was basically just beautiful shots from Stop Making Sense, and it's like this giant fucking Twitter thread I have going right now of just all these fucking shots of like David Byrne pointing the mic at the camera and therefore to the audience. My favorite shot in the movie, which is during the Once in a Lifetime number. Mm-hmm. The shot is of David, he's singing the last little bit of the song, and the backup singers are rising up. I look stupid doing it here, but they're like rising up from like their backs up. Mm-hmm. And there's like a white light shining down on them, and it looks like they're being saved.
Yeah.
And it's like absolutely beautiful. Like this movie is probably one of the best shot movies I've ever seen.
Okay.
Which is, again, like for a concert movie, that's like high praise.
Yeah. I kind of feel a little out of my depth talking about it, because I cannot stand concert movies. I think they're all so fucking boring. Like, when I listen to a band, I either want to just hear it, or I want to be in the concert. Like, concert videos are always never quite capture either of those for me.
No, and they usually don't capture them for me either. There's only a couple, like, concert movies or concert documentaries I can sit through. Mm-hmm.
Spinal Tap. But...
Yeah, because that movie's based on fact.
Yeah. What? You mean to tell me it isn't? But, I think this is the closest one that's come to, like, actually engaging me.
Yeah.
Just because it's so, like, interestingly shot. Like, there's some parts of, like, why would you even think to do that for a concert movie? It's so cool, and it's so cinematic. I still have a really hard time getting through it, though. Because I think there's only so much that a concert movie can do to keep me occupied, to keep me interested, and I got pretty bored at times.
No, and that's completely fair. I think what keeps this movie going for me is, one, I'm so familiar with the music.
Right.
And two, the energy.
It's really energetic.
There's so much energy in this movie. Like, we got to keep in mind, about 30 minutes into the movie when they're singing Life During Wartime.
Which is my favorite Talking Heads song.
That is a great fucking song.
Yeah.
And it's also probably one of my favorite numbers they do in this movie. Mm-hmm.
It's my second favorite.
But my favorite part is when they're playing the bridge solo kind of thing. It's like a weird mix of both.
Yeah.
They're all running in place while playing their fucking instruments. And then whoever can... Okay, so David Byrne obviously conceived this, so I'm going to blame him for a lot of, like, the stage direction.
Yeah.
So, and then David Byrne was like, okay, while you guys are running in place and playing at the same time, which is hard.
Oh, it's extremely hard.
It's extremely hard.
As somebody who's fucked around with an electric guitar a lot, it's really fucking hard.
And then while you're doing that, bend down a bit to make it harder. And then David Byrne went, "Oh, I'm not tired, even though I'm sweating to, into a fucking puddle. I'm gonna do laps around the fucking stage at the end of the song."
This guy was white boy sweating, let me tell you.
Oh, yeah. Everyone looks exhausted. And then you sit there and go, "Oh, we're only 30 minutes in."
Yeah. If you listen closely, you can hear the pitter-patter of little cats' feet running around. Because they're going fucking nuts.
Well, they're trying to emulate David Byrne.
Yeah. They're method acting.
God, but yeah, there's
stay tuned for Sequel Decay's reenactment of Stop Making Sense featuring only cats.
It'll be directed by Tom Hooper, and it'll be called Cats.
It will be horrifying and awful. Please don't watch it.
And all of the cats will be voiced by James Corden.
And Jason Derulo.
What
a fucking nightmare.
So, when I rewatched this, I watched it pretty much right after I rewatched another one of my favorite movies, Mulholland Drive.
Right.
And, okay, so have you seen Mulholland Drive?
No.
Okay, well you should, because it's great.
I should.
But, there's this scene where Naomi Watts and Laura Herring go into this club called Club Silencio. Mm-hmm. I'm not going to spoil anything for you, but basically, the idea is, this guy comes on the stage, he goes, "All these instruments you hear, it's all just a recording being played back to you." Mm-hmm. So when David Byrne comes on stage with a fucking boombox and starts playing a drum beat off of that, all I thought about was the Club Silencio scene. David Byrne should have just grabbed the mic and gone, "You hear that drum beat? It's actually just a tape being played back to you." And it kind of hits more watching the movie, having that context of, rewatching it after Mulholland Drive, than, what it would have been like seeing it live. But then again, Mulholland Drive didn't come out until 2001.
Yeah.
Because, we're just watching a recording of these performances being played back to us in a way. So, I just had a weird, Club Silencio meltdown while watching Stop Making Sense. Remember, guys, it's all about David Lynch.
All about it. Everything eventually comes back to this weird white guy.
I also think that, I love all the songs in this movie.
Yeah. I like some more than others. Some of them just kind of faded to the background for me just because I kind of check in and out of this.
That's fair. I really like Swamp a lot.
Swamp is fucking weird.
Swamp is a great song, especially David Byrne's performance of it, because he looks very weird in it.
Yeah, it looks kind of demented.
And I think that most of their performances here are better than the actual studio versions.
Yeah, it sounds incredible.
Life During Wartime, the original studio version, doesn't have that little intro at the beginning. It basically just cuts to them playing the main riff, and then David Byrne starts singing the verse. Because there's I want to say about a 40-second intro.
Yeah.
Before the song goes, where Chris France is just wailing on the drums, and you can just hear a little riff from the guitar, and it just really builds up the song.
Yeah, I also kind of thought that with Burning Down the House,
yes.
Which is probably my favorite performance in the entire movie, which I guess isn't an unpopular opinion, but it is my idea, which is just because it's just so energetic and intense.
I think what makes that performance work so incredibly well is that they build it up for the first 5 tracks.
Oh, yeah.
They build that up, because what they do in this movie, and it's a really smart creative decision on David Byrne's end, is all the members of the band come out 1 or 2 at a time for the first 5 songs. Until Burning Down the House comes in, and they just go nuts.
Yeah.
And it's this brilliant performance. And now, I actually have some notes on this.
Yeah.
So, apparently that first 5 tracks or so, David Byrne says it in David Byrne Interviews David Byrne, which is bizarre.
Very bizarre. The blackface scene, especially.
That
was fucking shocking.
David Byrne seems like such a sweet boy. Anyway, so David Byrne mentions in that interview that it's supposed to be a story about the band. And I was actually reading an interview with Chris France, who's the drummer. And it was an interview for Rolling Stone in 2014, and he said, this was all decided on before the tour even began, and it's a little bit of a revision of what really happened in real life. He said he thinks what David wanted to convey is that it began with David Byrne.
Yeah.
And then he invited Tina, and then him, and then the other guitar player, I can't remember his name right now, and so on and so forth, but that's not actually what happened. So generally, I think they both agree on the general idea was the formation of the band.
Right.
Was supposed to be what was being conveyed in that first, 25 minutes of the movie?
Yeah, because it starts very stripped down with just
David Byrne
playing an acoustic guitar.
And an acoustic guitar.
Playing Psycho Killer.
And that was an incredible performance.
That was awesome. That's
how you kick it off.
That's like the perfect contrast to, I guess, as a beginning, that contrasts really nicely with, like, the quote-unquote end of burning down the house.
Oh, yeah, where it's just, like, sensory overload, essentially. In the best way humanly possible.
Yeah, because Psycho Killer is way more minimalistic than the regular studio version.
Yeah.
Or, I guess, the version some would be familiar with from Rock Band.
Mm-hmm.
And then you're right, it gradually gets more built up until burning down the house, which is just an explosion of energy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then that explosion of energy at least remains... Yeah, like, that's, like, peak energy, and then the energy just stays really consistent for the rest of the movie.
Mm-hmm. It's hard for me to evaluate it just because concert movies are not my thing.
Yeah.
It's so my attention for it kind of goes in and kind of wavers. You know, I can appreciate that it's incredibly well shot. The music is incredible.
Oh, yeah, the music's incredible.
Although, if you remember, when we watched it the first time, like, at your apartment... a few months ago.
I thought we were locked in a basement.
Yeah, sure, locked in the basement, whatever. When we watched it, I don't think we watched it back to back with True Stories, but we did watch it. But we did watch it. We did watch Stop Making Sense, and I don't know if you remember, but by the halfway point, I was nodding off.
Yeah, you were nodding off, and I was like engaged. I'm like, "Come on, man, this is visually stunning," and you're just like, "I don't fucking care."
Because like I didn't really care.
Yeah,
because there was nothing for me to latch onto. Like, all right, cool.
Well, there was one thing you did latch on to, and that was Tina.
Tina was great!
Let's talk about Tina.
God.
Let's talk about Tina. Like, besides David Byrne, I would say the show stealer of this entire movie. Tina Weymouth is the bass player for the Talking Heads.
Mm-hmm.
Throughout the film, this is strange. I think she kind of has a character arc. In a way, in a weird, like, concert movie, David Byrne-ish way.
Yeah,
she kind of has an arc.
I'm very reluctant to say this concert has...
a narrative?
Has a narrative, because I feel like that's kind of an abuse of the word. But I think in terms of a character arc, I think Tina has the closest thing to one.
Yeah, because she starts off very subdued, very quiet, in the sense that, like, she stands in the same position... She doesn't really move around that much. She's a bassist. She's a bassist. And, like, she kind of, even for, like, a bass player, she's just kind of, like, shut in like this, and just kind of, like, she holds the guitar up to her very, very close.
Yeah.
Like, she feels almost very, like, sheltered away from everything else.
Mm-hmm.
And then, as the film goes on, she becomes gradually more open until she performs the Tom Tom Club's Genius of Love, which is actually a band that her and Chris France... did together. Actually, they're married in real life.
Yeah, they are. I'm not actually a huge fan of that song, but I think her performance during
was incredible. And for those of you who don't know what Genius of Love is, it is the song that plays at the end of, I think, the season 12 finale of It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia.
Really?
Yeah.
I should probably catch up with It's Always Sunny.
Yeah, they play the studio version in It's Always Sunny.
Okay.
They're all dancing around, and then, I won't spoil it for you, but it's a really funny scene where, like, Charlie's not really twerking, but he's, like, moving his ass around, like, very statically, like, He's back like this, like, yeah! It's really funny.
I kind of wish more bands would do this, like, just in the middle, like, they just invite one of the musicians' side projects up to, like, play a song.
Well, exactly, yeah.
I wish they would do more, like, I'm just picturing an Alkaline Trio concert. Shout out to all my other 90s punk fanboys. Or early 2000s, I guess. Where, like, Matt Skiba is like, and now, joining me on stage to suddenly play Bored to Death is Mark Hoppus and Travis Barker. And they play a Blink-182 song, and everybody's fucking confused. Because who wouldn't want to go to an Alkaline Trio concert and get one song played by mid-2010's Blink-182?
It would be like if NSYNC did a concert, and then they said, and now, ladies and gentlemen, cry me a river. And then the rest of the members of NSYNC just sit there on chairs while reading magazines and smoking cigarettes while Justin Timberlake owns that track.
Yeah.
That's here nor there. No, but I thought it was really cool that David Byrne was like, alright, let's do a Tom Tom Club song.
Yeah, it's really cool.
While I change into my big fucking suit.
The big suit.
We'll talk about that in a minute. I want to finish up with Tina. Yeah. But basically her performance of Genius of Love is fucking brilliant.
Yeah, she's great.
Like, she goes completely nuts in the best way humanly possible. And she just keeps up that energy for the entire track. And then she starts to become a little more comfortable after that for the rest of the movie, I'd say. Mm-hmm. But anyway, the big suit.
I think part of me was hoping I'd bring up Blink-182 on this podcast, and I can't quite put my finger on why. But yes, the big suit.
That is one big fucking suit.
It is a fucking unit of a suit.
For those of you that don't know what David Byrne did,
yeah,
and for those of you who haven't seen this movie or know nothing about the 80s pop culture zeitgeist, David Byrne wanted to make his body bigger and his head smaller.
Yeah.
Just for the fuck of it, I guess.
Yeah.
And so he puts on this oversized fucking suit. So when he comes out on stage, and I love the way that they introduce it, because, like, again, like with Girlfriend is Better, like the song that plays when... Okay, you know what song I'm talking about.
Yeah.
So when he comes on to the song Girlfriend is Better, and the original track is just like a little bit of a drum beat, and then David Byrne starts singing. In the live version, again, like Life During Wartime, there's a little bit of an introduction. It's very eerie.
Yeah, it is.
And you just see a shadow of David Byrne just emerging on the stage before you come down very slowly on David in this giant fucking suit. And you're just kind of sitting there like, what the fuck is this? Yeah. Like, you're just kind of stunned for a while. And he still finds a way to dance in it. Albeit his dance movements are very limited.
Yeah,
and very uncomfortable.
Yeah.
He's just kind of like
moves
sweat
like
this.
Pouring from his face.
He looks exhausted.
His hair looks soaked.
Like, did they just turn up the fucking heat in there?
They must have. Like, I mean, it's already, I'm sure, just boiling. I can't imagine with the suit.
Oh my god, yeah, like it was so crazy to watch. And the entire time, like, you're seeing a lot of Byrne's creative decisions, you're like, what the fuck made you think that this would work for an hour and a half?
Yeah.
And it works, that's the thing.
It does
It works really well, and it's really entertaining for an hour and a half. Mm-hmm. But, holy shit.
Yeah.
Like, I just can't believe he was like, yeah, I'm just gonna wear a giant fucking suit in this already boiling auditorium, because fuck it. The other thing I also noticed visually about the movie is that 99.9% of the shots are of the band.
Uh-huh.
And then there's that 0.01% of the shots of the audience that Lysol couldn't kill.
What the fuck?
But I thought it was really cool how they didn't, like, have a lot of shots on the audience. It's pretty much all about the band.
Yeah, they don't have the shots of the audience until, like, the very end, where they have that little kid who's, like, holding a unicorn plushie, and that was adorable.
Yeah, basically, there's a couple shots of the audience at the very end of the movie, and that's it. Mm-hmm. And I thought that was really cool, because all the focus is on the band. And I believe Chris France did say something about that in the Rolling Stones article as well. He said, quote, "The idea was to have the movie presented to the viewer as if the viewer had the best seat in the house. The best seat in the house does not involve looking at the audience. We thought it would be like seeing the concert the way we in the band would like to see it."
Yeah.
And I completely agree with him, and I think that was a really smart way of doing it.
Uh-huh.
Is by having it focus on the band. Like, I don't need to see shots of the fucking crowd. I don't give a shit how much the crowd's freaking out over this.
Yeah, especially because, like, every fucking concert movie besides this, it's always the same thing. It's just these, like, boring static shots, like, scanning across the crowd who are losing their shit or moshing or whatever.
Yeah.
And then, like, these, like, shots that, like, hover around the band, and the band member might wink at the camera or something, but they don't actually interact with it.
Yeah.
And it's just them playing, and I don't fault them for not putting on a big suit, or singing to a lamp or whatever, because not every band can do that, but it's just not interesting to see unless you're, like, actually in the concert, because it's the entire point of going to a fucking concert.
Exactly, and I think this movie does a really good job at kind of being, like, that timeless concert that will never die and will never go away.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Like, even 35 years later, like, nothing can top this movie. So Stefan, is there anything else you'd like to talk about with this movie?
I just have a YouTube comment that I found on the video. I like to think the dress code for the heads for this concert was just I don't know, come in whatever you're wearing. And it just so happened that David was getting a loan approved, Tina was painting her house, and Chris was playing golf. But yeah, I like the thing that kept me engaged for this movie when I was engaged, because I did kind of zone out for a bit of it, was like the band members' energy, especially David.
Oh yeah, because David's like got peak energy in this entire...
especially his little like interactions with the backup singers.
Oh yeah,
they were just like stomp like back and forth on their right and left legs
for
like.
Oh, that was in Slippery People, right?
That was Slippery People.
That's a great song too.
And yeah, I think that was really fun to watch because it's like, what the fuck? Why?
Well, wasn't that with Jerry Harrison?
Who the hell is Jerry Harrison?
Oh no, he did something else with the backup singers. But I like how everyone's kind of interacting with each other.
Yeah. Nobody's in their own little world.
Yeah, nobody's just kind of staying there doing their own thing. They're all interacting with each other. They're all like visually kind of keeping up with each other.
Yeah.
Like nobody ever feels like they're in the dark.
Yeah, exactly.
And it kind of makes this like weird performance art thing. Actually, It's really cool.
What are your favorite songs from performances from this one? Because I have my 8 favorites.
Oh, you have 8?
Yes.
I have... Okay, I'm gonna have to think of 8 right away, but why don't you tell us your 8?
My 8th, I have Cross-Eyed and Painless, the last one.
Okay.
7th, I have Once in a Lifetime.
Yep.
6th, I have the cover of Take Me to the River.
Okay.
5th, This Must Be the Place. 4th, What a Day That Was. 3rd, Psycho Killer. 2nd, Life During Wartime. And 1st, Burning Down the House.
Okay, I'm not going to even try to put these in order. I'm just going to put them in the chronological order in which they appear in the movie.
Yeah, whatever, fucking nerd.
So, I'm going to say Psycho Killer, Heaven, Slippery People, Burning Down the House, Life During Wartime, Swamp, Once in a Lifetime, Girlfriend is Better, and Take Me to the River.
Mm-hmm.
So I have about 8 or 9. That are like my absolute favorites. Like, I think every rendition is incredible. This was hard for me to kind of figure out.
Yeah.
But those are the ones that really stood out for me the most.
Mm-hmm.
So Stefan, do you recommend Stop Making Sense?
This is tough for me because it's just so subjective. Like, I know I'm probably never going to watch the whole movie again.
Okay.
I will, except just isolated scenes, and I know I'll probably listen to it a lot. Because I really like the music.
Oh, did you get the soundtrack on Spotify or something?
Yes.
Oh, good.
But I don't want to watch the whole thing. Okay. I think it's just too... There's just not enough going on for me to actually stay engaged with it.
That's fair.
Which is not a problem... It's not a problem specific to Stop Making Sense. It's just a problem with concert movies.
Yeah.
Like, I think they're just generally kind of boring. And this is way more interesting than most of them, but it's not enough to like actually make me want to sit down and focus on this and only this for an hour and a half. Like I want to do something in the background.
Yeah.
But I will say if you're a Talking Heads fan, you need to watch this. I'm gonna give it a middle of the road just for that.
Okay.
Because if you don't like concert videos at all, you just watch clips from it. I don't think you're gonna get anything out of watching the whole thing. But if you're really into the Talking Heads or you like concert videos, there's some really cool stuff here. There's some really great shots. There's some really great cinematography. Really great performances. It's just not really for me.
Okay. I am probably... Okay, so my personal self, I'm going to give this a thumbs up. I'm not even close to giving this a middle of the road. I would say whether or not you're going to want to watch this is, like you said, it's going to entirely depend on whether or not you're into concert movies. Or I'd say even if you're not into the Talking Heads, give it a go.
I wasn't really into them before the movie, like, not because I didn't like them, just because I didn't really know them aside from stuff like Psycho Killer.
Yeah.
But I listen to them more now, and I mean, they're fucking great.
Yeah, God bless it. Like, this, I will at least say, like, if you're not into the Talking Heads, either watch clips from the movie, maybe give the whole thing a go if you want. That's ultimately your decision. It's only like 85 minutes long anyway, so it's not like you're completely wasting your time if you watch the whole thing. But if you are a huge fan of the Talking Heads, if you've never seen this, you need to watch this.
Yep.
Alright, Stefan, I guess it's time to talk about the other movie in the, it's like 60 Minutes on Acid Cinematic Universe.
The ILSMOACU. Get on it, marketing.
Come on, Disney. Get it done. I want fucking David Byrne coming into every movie now going, "Excuse me, I was wondering if you wanted to join a special team. It's called the Talking Heads."
Does Disney own these movies yet?
No, they don't. Thank
Okay.
God. I mean, they might own True Stories if they ever buy out Warner Brothers, but
Oh, okay.
let's hope that never happens.
Yeah. Oh, it will.
Speaking of that, let's talk about True Stories.
Let's talk about True Stories. Chris, why don't you tell us a little bit about True Stories?
True Stories is my 4th favorite movie of all time.
Okay.
It was directed by David Byrne, written by him, Stephen Tobolowsky, and Beth Henley. Mm-hmm. And it stars David Byrne, John Goodman, Swoosie Kurtz, Spalding Gray, a million other people.
A lot of people.
A lot of fucking people. And it's essentially a series of random vignettes centered around this fictional town of Virgil, Texas. Mm-hmm. And
all I wanna be is that Chapo.
We'll talk about that soon.
Will we?
Probably. And basically, it all centers around David Byrne, who is essentially our surrogate, going into this town, visiting these people, getting to know them while we get to know them. And yeah, it's fucking awesome.
It's a great movie.
I heard about this movie through both Criterion, who actually released a wonderful Blu-ray of this from a 4K restoration. Mm. Yeah.
Yeah.
This episode's brought to you by Criterion. And I also heard about it through Red Letter Media around the exact same time.
Right.
Because basically Criterion announced they were going to do this on Blu-ray, and then I found the Red Letter Media video on it, which is also really solid, and I recommend watching that if you want to listen to other people talk about this movie other than us.
Yeah. I kind of indirectly heard about it first through listening to Chapo Trap House, because one of the hosts is named Virgil Texan. I was like, that's a weird fucking pseudonym. Where does that come from? And then, like, you browbeated me into watching it, because
It took me a few months to get you to watch this.
Yeah, because I'm impossible to pin down. But, and then, like, it's like, this is a collection of short stories or whatever from the town of Virgil, Texas, and I was like, oh!
That's where it comes from! Yeah, because that's what I ended up telling you to convince you into watching it, I think.
Yeah, that's like one of the Chapo hosts got their pseudonym from it. It was like, this is a collection of short stories from the town of Felix Biederman.
They're also wonderful. We recommend you check out Chapo Trap House as well.
Yeah, as if they needed our help.
Yeah, as if, I don't think they really do.
Yeah.
Buy the book.
Yeah. Well, I think they should be. I think they'll be fine.
I think they'll be fine. If they'd like to endorse us.
Yeah. Please.
We would like that.
From two mediocre fail sons to other mediocre fail sons.
Oh my god. Okay, so Stefan, you love this movie too?
Oh yeah, I really love this movie. It's right up my fucking alley. It's kind of gives me like a proto Wes Anderson feel.
Yes, I meant that was I think the other thing I told you that was gonna like get you into watching it.
Yeah.
Was Wes Anderson probably took fucking notes from this movie.
I bet.
Like a lot of what ended up becoming Wes's distinct style is emulated here.
Yeah.
Like the static symmetrical framing and some of the weird off-putting performances. A lot of the really quirky comedy.
Yeah.
Like this feels like a Wes Anderson movie before Wes Anderson, and it's absolutely great. This is also David Byrne's first and only feature film.
That's true. Probably because it absolutely tanked.
Yeah, probably. God, what I'd kill to have A24 go up to David Byrne right now and be like, hey, make another movie.
Yeah.
Like, that would be just as exciting as seeing Eddie Murphy return to stand-up.
Will it also be exciting to watch David Byrne recline into his pile of money and say, fuck you, I'm busy?
David Byrne will do it. If David Byrne's got something to say, he'll do it.
Yeah.
I actually watched the making of on the Criterion Blu-ray as well, and I noted, and I took some notes from that, and they actually did talk about the symmetry. They apparently did it in an effort to seem less artistic and more childish, in an effort to come off as unusual.
I mean, it definitely came off as unusual.
Yeah.
Like, whether they were intending to or not, like, that's what it came off as.
Yeah, like, I think the idea was to come off as kind of weird.
Yeah, it's weird shit small town, but without the very frequent supernatural horror vibe.
Yes. There's,
For more weird shit, small town, check us out next week.
That's a hint.
Yeah.
I think David Byrne as the narrator is fantastic.
Yes.
Yes.
He's so fucking weird.
I cannot imagine anyone else being the narrator in this.
Uh-huh.
Like, at all. Just like how I can't imagine anyone else playing Louis Fine other than John fucking Goodman. Because he's so goddamn good in this movie.
Before we go on to Louis, what's your favorite narrator line? Mine is, "This car isn't a rental. It's privately owned." That one killed my mom.
That one's
David
pretty...
Byrne murdered my mother. Jesus Christ. It's a weird addition to the Sequel Decay canon.
I think my...
Stefan's mother, who was a fan of the show, was murdered by David Byrne, the singer of the Talking Heads.
And she's probably going to share this episode on Facebook and go, "I'm actually alive."
She doesn't have Facebook. Stefan is strangely okay with the whole situation.
As long as David Byrne signs his digital copy of True Stories.
Yeah.
My favorite line, probably the line, okay, so like, the steering wheel starts acting all fucky, and he's like, "Yep, it's fancy driving."
Yeah, it's because he's clearly driving against a green screen, too. And he's just like fucking going nuts with the steering wheel.
Like, I think it's actually moving on its own or something, like up and down, too.
Yeah.
Which is weird, but yeah, I think that's my favorite.
It definitely gives off that uncanny effect.
Yeah, it definitely, yeah, and I think, again, I think this movie is trying to be really fucking weird.
Yeah.
And it succeeds.
Oh, yeah.
This movie's really funny, also.
Uh-huh.
Like, really funny.
Yeah.
Like, almost everything that comes out of everyone's mouth is so fucking quirky and so fucking bizarre that it's really fucking funny.
Yeah. One of my underrated favorite characters is the lady who never gets out of bed.
Yeah.
Oh, that's a look.
I think they're trying to sell something. Live at 5.
It's telling that the most normal character in this entire movie is John Goodman as Louis Fine, and he's still a fucking weirdo.
He's magnificent.
He's magnificent.
The fucking wife wanted sign outside of his fucking house.
That was perfect.
Call 1-844-WIFE. Serious inquiries only.
I'm 6
Oh,
foot.
don't ruin that line.
I'm 6 foot.
Don't ruin that line.
That's your hint. Now go get it, you little piggies.
Just go watch the movie. I don't want to ruin too many of the good lines in this.
Yeah.
There's some really good shit that I'm just like... Because I don't think a lot of people have still seen it.
Well, it tanked, and it's a cult movie, so no. Barely anybody has seen it.
Yeah, like even with the Red Letter Media video out there, I still don't think a whole lot of people have seen it. Mm-hmm. And, I mean, it's now in print, thanks to Criterion. Go watch it. Yeah. This isn't a hard decision, guys.
Yeah, you should. I think if it came out today, it would kill.
Oh, yeah. Actually, I could see some people thinking it was a ripoff of a Wes Anderson movie now.
Yeah, exactly.
But I think it
Wes Anderson's movies do well.
Yeah, Wes Anderson's movies do really well. Now, if only True Stories did well.
Yeah.
Like, for a movie that didn't do so well, it's strangely influential in that way. Mm-hmm. But, so we were kind of debating the cynicism of this movie before we started recording.
Yeah, so this movie was released in 1986.
Yeah. In
the midst of the Reagan era.
Yes.
In the midst of the worst president in American history. Quite possibly.
He's up there.
He has competition, but it's either him or George W.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Him, W, maybe the current one.
Still hasn't started wars on the same scale as Reagan or W. Bush.
That is true. But we're waiting for it to happen.
They're all garbage, folks.
They're all trash.
But Reagan was a special kind. And this movie has a lot of like pointed digs at not necessarily Reagan specifically. Its scope is a bit wider than that, but a lot of like kind of the transitions of a small town into like this new kind of hyper-capitalist era. Yeah. Where it spends a lot of time in the shopping mall talking about how, and the kind of town oligarch or whatever, like kind of explains how all the town is becoming centered around work.
Yeah.
And this one corporation.
Well, and how people's pursuit for happiness has now become just working your ass off until the day you die. There's no concept of weekends anymore.
Yeah, exactly. There's even a little vignette at the beginning, like, before the action gets started in the movie, where like, David Byrne goes into, like, how Texas was settled.
Yeah.
Where it was originally, obviously, a bunch of, obviously, indigenous tribes, and then, settlers came and murdered them all, and it was just a perpetual war until the United States and slave owners basically strong-armed their way into taking control of the territory.
Yes. And then he goes into a lot of the technological advances that have kind of plagued Western society.
Yeah, and it leads to the kind of proto-Silicon Valley thing.
Yeah. That
I guess Texas was at some point. I don't know if they still are.
I don't think they are as much anymore, especially with Silicon Valley.
And especially because Texas is like an oil state at this point.
Pretty much, yeah.
Knowing in Alberta, we know a little thing or two about petro states.
But if I can talk about that opening monologue for a minute, I absolutely love how he throws so much fucking information at the screen. It kind of reminds me of like an Adam McKay movie.
Uh-huh.
Like the scenes where like, oh god, Margot Robbie in a bathtub in The Big Short explaining economics to you.
Yeah.
It feels like that. And, you know, much like an Adam McKay movie, it can feel like, you know, information overload if not delivered properly. But much like an Adam McKay movie, it's delivered properly.
Yeah.
Like, David Byrne he's talking quickly and he's getting through it very quickly, but it feels longer because he's kind of taking his time and calmly explaining it, and he does it very innocently, too.
Uh-huh.
Which kind of contrasts with how fucked up it all is.
Yeah, no kidding. Like, imagine this man-child.
I wouldn't call him a man-child. I would just say a very innocent
35-year-old man, or whatever the fuck, wistfully explaining to you how Texas was basically settled by the United States through genocide.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. Like, there's also things like the puzzling evidence sequence, which is making fun of the stupidity of conspiracy theories. And when did Fox News become a thing again?
I think it was around for a while, but Rupert Murdoch and Roger Ailes are the ones that really pushed it into just absolute lunacy.
Oh, not till 1996. This movie's kind of ahead of its time because it kind of predicted Fox News.
Yeah.
That sequence predicts Fox News.
Yeah.
Because 100%, the only thing I was thinking about during that scene is, Alex Jones, Fox News.
Yeah.
All these fucking lunatics. Would you be surprised if Glenn Beck went on Fox News one day?
I mean, he has been.
No, let me finish. I know he has been. Would you imagine Glenn Beck going on Fox News one day and asking you if you've run out of paper towel, toilet paper, and Kleenex at the same time, and then try to build a conspiracy theory around it? Because
that wouldn't surprise me at all.
That wouldn't surprise me at all.
Yeah.
And that's why that scene really reminds me of, Fox News and those fucking lunatics. Also, John Ingle plays the preacher in this movie, and he also plays the principal in Heathers.
Oh, yeah, you're right.
Yeah. I'm correct.
What a good man. And
then other examples of satire in this movie, like we mentioned, the Spalding Gray dinner scene.
Yeah.
Which is absolutely wonderful.
This is fucking... This kind of disturbingly fucked up family of oligarchs who the father only talks to the mother using their daughter as an intermediary, which is so fucked up.
Yeah.
But it does kind of show how wealth absolutely destroys your brain.
Again, the Spalding Gray dinner scene about how, people were putting so much of their lives into work, which is becoming the single thing that drives their lives. There's also the fashion show, which is, making fun of consumerism and all the money that people are willing to put down over stupid shit like lawn suits.
Yeah, there's a lot of digs at not necessarily capitalism, but definitely consumerism.
Well, definitely consumerism, and definitely, aspects of American culture. I don't think this is specifically going after Reagan.
I think that kind of comes with the territory, though, just because this was such because of the onset of Reagan era neoliberalism. Yeah. That comes with all this emphasis on consumerism, which is what this movie is mocking, even though it doesn't necessarily mock the root cause.
No, it doesn't mock the root cause, but it's definitely mocking the idea of it. Mm-hmm. Yeah. And it's definitely mocking the idea of people willingly putting down money for the dumbest fucking shit humanly imaginable.
Yeah.
That fashion show is absolutely hilarious.
Yeah, I love the parade where it's just one of the groups is just people with like driving lawnmowers.
Yes.
Down Main Street.
The other dig at consumerism I saw was the Love for Sale scene.
Yeah.
Like that entire music video is a dig at consumerism as well. I also really like. Okay, so it cuts back and forth from the Love for Sale video, which I think was shot separately, but I'm not 100% sure.
Oh, I'm sure it was shot separately.
Like I think it was supposed to be just its own music video, but I honestly don't know.
It wouldn't surprise me.
Hey, internet, let us know. And but like how it's cutting from the video itself to like the woman in bed just kind of commentating over it. Mm-hmm. Like, because she's flicking through channels and she kind of sees little bits of the video here and there until she finally just decides I'm going to watch the whole thing.
Yeah.
And I kind of took it as a commentary on how we're more attracted to media that's more challenging and out of the ordinary, even if we don't understand it. Because she even says, I think they're trying to sell something, which is clearly not the point.
Yeah.
Than we are to other media that we know and understand. Because, like, she skips I Love Lucy, she skips multiple different renditions of the news, even making fun of the news, being like, it basically saying, like, it's on all the fucking time.
Yeah.
Like, live at 5, news at 10, news at 7, news at 8.
Because of her station life, she doesn't really have the capacity to understand something that's more challenging.
Exactly.
Because, like, she mentioned, like, she's so rich she doesn't need to leave her bed.
Yeah.
Like, she has a robot that brings her shit.
Well, a robot
like,
and a servant.
A robot and a servant. Just because she absorbs something at the most basic levels because she doesn't need to try to understand anything at a deeper level.
No.
Because she's conditioned to accept it at a very superficial level.
Well, exactly. Also, as you probably know, David Byrne was actually inspired by tabloid stories.
Yeah.
Actually, the Criterion essay booklet is literally designed like a tabloid paper.
Oh,
it's
cool.
absolutely hilarious.
I didn't know that. There's that scene where David Byrne's in the mall and he just kind of pauses and looks at like these two guys who are just reading tabloid stories and going fucking nuts.
Oh, yeah. But you don't really need to know that this was inspired by a tabloid thing to even appreciate it.
It wouldn't have even occurred to me.
No.
If it wasn't mentioned to me after the fact.
Yeah, no, because it, like, honestly, it doesn't really impact the plot much at all. Mm-hmm. Like, yeah, these people are fucking weird, but you don't need to know the context behind that because it ultimately doesn't really matter.
Yeah.
It's also like how, despite how dated some of the discussions on technology are, I think there's still... the ideas behind them are still super relevant.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah. Like, this movie's, like, strangely timeless, considering it's definitely about a certain cultural zeitgeist at a very specific period of time in America.
I mean, like, look at how communities in Alberta are centered around the natural gas energy or oil.
Yeah.
Look at how major cities were, like, clamoring to suck Amazon's dick to get them to center themselves in their cities.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And that's what I'm saying. Like, yeah, some of the discussions about, like, technology back then are a little more dated.
Yeah.
But, again, the ideas and a lot of what they're satirizing is still really, really relevant today.
Oh, yeah.
Like, this movie's going to be timeless for a very long time.
Yeah. Which is a shame. And it's a shame that, like, not a lot of people are going to watch it. Hopefully as more people do watch it, because it is, like you said, it's extremely prescient. Yeah,
it's extremely prescient. It's so good. I also heard from the making of documentary that David started with the visual aspect first and the screenplay came last.
Really?
Yeah, so basically what happened was he drew a bunch of pictures of like shots that he envisioned in his head that would later become part of the movie, and he just had like hundreds of these pictures and he posted them all over his wall. And he brought a bunch of people over and said, here, look at these and tell me what you see. And he ended up hiring Beth Henley and Stephen Tobolowsky, who plays the villain in Garfield.
Really?
Yeah.
That's fucking weird.
Yeah, and they had to have the script done in, like, less than 3 weeks. It's a really smart movie, honestly. I really like this movie. And I like how at the end of the day, it feels like David Byrne is saying, like, all this... Like, what makes America special isn't... where it's heading right now. What makes America special are the simple things.
Yeah, I tend to think the movie is like representing that a bit more critically.
I don't necessarily think that the movie is really representing the simpler things more critically. Like, he's obviously more in awe of like the landscapes around him, and I don't think he genuinely thinks these people are like lunatics or anything.
No, I don't think that either. But I think I think the situation is represented like not necessarily in an optimistic light. Because, like, even, like, Lewis's song, like, yeah, I don't know if he meant it to come across this way or not, but I kind of got, like, a very satirical, almost cynical feel from it. Like, yeah, they don't want freedom or justice, they just want kind of this, like, superficial idea of love. And I guess you could argue that, like, Lewis is not a superficial person, but I don't know, something about that came across kind of darker to me. And because given that this movie, like, isn't, like, afraid of, like, portraying, like, a darker underbelly to this kind of small-town Texan life, like, I can't help feeling that it's not particularly, like, optimistic. But I do agree that it does, like, take a time to, like, appreciate the better parts, like the landscapes and whatnot, and the kind of quirky personalities of the people.
Well, and again, this is where I'm going to disagree with you, and I'm going to say that I don't think that song is cynical. I think that that's just what Lewis wants. I think that that's Lewis's that's his pursuit of happiness, is just finding someone to spend the rest of his life with.
But I think
yes, it's superficial, but it's one of those small things. And again, David Byrne kind of looks at the smaller things with a more innocent yearning for them. At least that's what I got from it. I don't think it's cynical.
I don't really care what David Byrne's intention was, but I think it did come across as Lewis was singing not just for himself, but from the perspective of the whole town. And I don't think that in that context it comes across very optimistic.
I guess that's just your opinion, man.
Well, yeah, but I'm right.
Yeah, but...
So, suck on that. Anyway, what else? What else do you have?
Fuck off.
That was some scintillating intellectual conversation.
Yeah, just throw me off, just like that, eh?
Yeah.
What are your favorite songs from the movie?
I really like the Love for Sale.
Yes.
I like that song that the kids are singing, like, just in the suburbs.
Yeah, it just kind of feels like the most, like... I think that's the one song where the movie kind of grinds to a halt for me, but I still love it.
I like it a lot. Like, honestly, like, I can't really say it grinds to a halt, because that's kind of the pattern for the movie, where it's like, the song kind of comes out of nowhere, but, like, whatever, who gives a shit?
Yeah.
It's great. I also like the one that I forget its name, but the one that they sing in the club at the beginning.
Oh, Wild Wild Life.
That's the one, yeah.
That one's wonderful.
How the fuck do I forget the name of that song? That's like 50% of the words in that song.
I'm going to say that my favorite songs in the movie are the one that John Goodman sings at the end.
Oh yeah, that's
just because I really like that song and I really like John Goodman's
It's a really good song. Yeah.
Love for Sale is another one of my favorites, and Wild Wild Life is another one of my favorites. But yeah, I think this is a wonderful, wonderful film.
It's a great movie.
What I'd kill for, like, movies like this to come out more often. Just, like, little quirky, like, less than 90-minute, just weird little takes on America.
Thanks to the problems that this movie foretold, we will never get a movie like this again, so...
No.
Good news. Good news all around.
I'm actually really sad that David Byrne hasn't made another movie.
Yeah. Why do you think that is? Is it just because this movie bombed?
I wonder if it's because this movie tanked or if he just didn't have any other ideas.
Yeah. He did like, mention in that interview where he did blackface, and I'm not going to let anybody forget it. That he said, like, yeah, I'll make another movie when I have something to tell people.
No, that was
that was for
touring.
That was for touring, but I think the same, like, idea would apply for him.
Yeah. Like, if he doesn't have something to say, why bother?
Yeah. So,
say something once, why say it again?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Look at me bringing it back to a song, guys.
Yeah, it does strike me as the kind of person like it. Also, I don't think he's, like, formally trained in filmmaking at all.
No, he was kind of picking it up as he was going along with, like, directing some of the music videos for the Talking Heads, including Love for Sale.
Yeah.
And also, this. Like, when he was directing this, he was kind of just picking it up as he was going along, from what it sounded like in that making of
I mean,
doc.
he did say, like, he came out with, like, the artistic vision for it before writing the script, and he got, like, outside people to help him with the script, so I guess that makes sense.
Yeah, like, this feels like he kind of winged it.
Yeah, and it turned out for the better for it, yeah.
It turned out for the better. It's strangely influential still, just because of the Wes Anderson connection.
Yeah. Do we know that Wes Anderson was actually influenced by it?
I honestly don't know.
Because I couldn't find any... I didn't look too in-depth, but I couldn't find anything like the two.
I would not be shocked if he's seen it.
Nor would I.
Like, I'm actually kind of surprised that Criterion never reached out to Wes Anderson at all to be like, do you want to do an appreciation thing for this at all? Or have you seen this movie? Did it ever inspire you at all? Because, yeah, like, I honestly would not... Like, when we're saying, like, we wouldn't be shocked if Wes Anderson was inspired by this movie, boy, do we mean it.
Yeah, no kidding.
Like, because this has a lot of those Wes Anderson-isms that he's really well known for now. Mm-hmm. And I know, like, I think he's also from Texas, as far as I'm concerned. I'm going to look that up right now. Yeah, no, he's from Texas.
Oh, shit, yeah.
So, like, it's entirely possible that he was probably influenced by this movie in some way. Mm-hmm. If anyone actually knows if Wes Anderson was influenced by this movie, please let me know.
Yep.
Anyway, so Stefan, would you recommend this movie?
I would recommend this movie.
Good.
It's a lovely movie.
So would I.
Yeah.
Would you recommend it? Would you recommend it to kids?
You know what? I think there's like one swear word in the movie.
Yeah, so, it's completely harmless.
Yeah, so yeah, I probably would.
Like, this is kind of fun for the whole family, like, kind of.
Like, it's a little off, it's a little bit of an oddball, but...
It's a weird movie, but I think, like, kids are gonna like the weird shit, and adults are gonna really appreciate some of the commentary.
Yeah. I think it's got a wide appeal, surprisingly.
Yeah, like, a really wide appeal. Like, it doesn't feel like... I don't even think there's any swearing.
Literally, the lady in bed calls somebody a pig shit once. A greedy little pig shit.
Oh, okay.
But that's the only swear that I remember.
Yeah, like, this movie's pretty harmless.
Yeah.
But anyway, yeah, like, it's so fucking harmless. Like, yeah, you could probably put this on for everybody. It's got such a huge wide appeal.
Yeah. It's got a... Yeah. I heartily recommend True Stories, and I'm sure...
You hardly recommend it?
Heartily.
Oh. So this is one of my top 5 of all time, so obviously I recommend it.
Yeah.
Like, I'm so glad we got to talk about this movie finally. I love every second of it. I think it's so smart. I think it's so clever. I think it has a lot to say. And while you and I might disagree on that, I think the fact that I don't really know what David Byrne's interpretation is, and I'm only just making guesses, same with you.
Yeah, I don't really care what he thinks. But I think you could read into it a wide variety of ways.
Yeah, like... No, and I think we're reading into it in different ways, and I think that's important, and I think that's what makes the movie so special.
Yeah.
So, yeah, we did it, guys. We talked about it.
We sure did.
Join us next week where we talk about a video game.
For some reason, yeah.
Yeah, why are we talking about a video game again,
I don't know,
Stefan?
it's the lowest form of entertainment.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah.
So we're going to be talking about Call of Duty Modern Warfare next week.
Yeah.
Yeah. Actually, no, we're going to be talking about, God, what's the most xenophobic one in the franchise?
All of them? They're all pretty bad.
Pick one.
Let's see. I mean, there is Black Ops, which pretends that the U.S. wasn't the bad guys in every war they've ever been in.
I like the multiplayer in that game, though.
Huh?
I like the multiplayer in that game,
Multiplayer is pretty fun. All their Modern Warfare games are just the kill brown people and get away with it post 9/11 fantasies. I don't know, they're all pretty bad.
Which one would
One has Kevin Spacey.
Was that Black Ops 2?
Advanced Warfare.
That's Advanced Warfare? Okay.
Yeah.
Join us next week for Call of Duty Advanced Warfare.
Yeah, I'd actually rather die, I think.
And we're going to have a special guest on next week, which
is
very exciting. Would you like to tell us a little bit about our special guest next week?
He's a handsome boy, and I really like him. Oh, right, I guess we still got to do social media. I thought we were leading out.
Or do you want to, tell us about our fucking guest?
I don't know. He's in... how much do you want to tell him? How much do you want to say for the actual episode?
No, we could talk about Tim a little bit. Tell us about Tim.
He's our friend, and we like him. We know him from school. He's a good boy, and you should all be very excited.
Yes.
Because he's got good takes.
Get ready for Timothy.
Yeah, there's one thing Timothy has. It's takes.
Now lead into the social media.
Anyway. You can find us on Twitter at @DecaySequel. You can find us on Facebook. All our episodes are posted to YouTube, where you're listening to this right now. We have
SoundCloud later.
What's going on SoundCloud later? We have a Patreon. We all have individual Twitter accounts.
Follow me so you can find my Stop Making Sense cinematography appreciation thread.
Follow me so you can see my various retweets,
including that one, probably.
Probably that one, yeah. I'm holding a cat right now. He's not very happy with it. I should probably let him go.
I'm holding a cat right now.
And he seems a little more at peace with that decision.
I'm holding 2 cats right now. One with the asshole facing the microphone.
Well, now you're just showing off. Anyway.
They're just escaping.
Anyway, this has gone on way too long. I'm shutting it down.
Alright, so I'm Chris.
I'm still Stefan.
This is Fraggle.
This is Oliver.
And we all love you. Fraggle wants to leave now. The show's over.
I feel pretty lukewarm towards you. Just if we're being honest.
Me or?
Just whoever.
Oh, the audience?
Yeah.
Okay. I feel kind of mixed to negative on them.
Yeah.
Be completely honest here.
Why are we morphing into red letter media?
Especially your mom.
Yeah.
Like mixed to negative on your mom.
Frankly, mediocre at best. I'm sorry, Mom. I love you. Please don't kick me out.
Would she actually kick you out over that?
No.
Oh, good.
She would probably laugh out loud. I hope. That's what I'm counting on. Jesus.
Good, we're keeping it in.
Oh,
Bye,
good.
everyone.
Bye.